Hey Gary, have you ever wondered why anti-malware software is called antivirus software? Because I have, and it bothers me. While all viruses are malware, not all malware are viruses. Malware stands for malicious software, and even though those two terms are frequently used interchangeably, they are different. Hashtag justice for malware. Sure, when viruses were the only digital threat that we had to worry about, maybe the term antivirus made sense. But now there are several different terrible, and I mean terrible, software out there that seek to cause your computer harm. Malware operates similar to any other application, with the exception that its goal is to hurt you, not help you, similar to your local tax authority. Before we dive into the problem with antivirus software, let's take a look at some of the different types of evil malware that exist. First up, we have viruses, which are perhaps the oldest type of malicious software. Similar to a dictionary, everyone knows about it, but no one uses it. Once a virus is installed on a computer, it self-replicates, attaching itself to files and corrupting them, making them unreadable and likely unrecoverable, just like how a biological virus attacks your immune system. Worms are like another variant of COVID. They improved upon viruses in the worst possible way. While viruses self-replicate locally on a computer, they can only be spread via manual means, like email or a flash drive. Worms, on the other hand, can replicate through networks without any user interaction, infecting other systems. Pretty gross if you think about it. Trojans, and no, I don't mean the ones you buy at the pharmacy, are malware disguised as legitimate applications. For example, perhaps you downloaded a game, it probably even works, so you know it's not Pokemon Scarlet or Violet. But behind the scenes, this game just created an easy entry point for the bad guys to further infect or control your computer. If you think unskippable ads are annoying, try Adware. Adware is malware that presents you with ads that are generally persistent, annoying, and more than likely compromise your privacy. So basically every ad Google and Facebook serve up. Spyware is probably the most disturbing type of malware, as its purpose is to track and collect information on you, similar to your parents before you moved out. The most common form of spyware are keyloggers, which report every keystroke back to the malicious actor. Even creepier yet is how some spyware can even turn on your webcam or your microphone without you ever knowing. This stuff is way worse than your parents ever were. RootKits are malware designed to be stealthy and undetectable, unlike any time I try to surprise anyone. RootKits do this by attempting to mimic the behavior of your computer system, thus allowing a malicious actor plenty of time to monitor your computer's activities or leverage it for something more sinister. Botnets are networks of compromised computers. A single computer within this network is called a bot, and unlike any Taylor Swift fan, day to day, a user would likely never know that their computer is a part of a botnet, while in the background, the malicious actor would be remotely leveraging the compromised computer to do something that you probably don't approve of, like mine for cryptocurrency, or conduct a distributed denial of service or DDoS attack. Lastly, and perhaps the most well-publicized type of malware, is ransomware. Once installed, ransomware restricts access to a system by encrypting the files stored within and typically requiring some form of payment, usually in cryptocurrency, for the encryption key. The greatest risk of ransomware is that by paying the ransom, there is no guarantee that the captured files won't be released publicly, nor will future attacks be discouraged. However, ransomware vendors are incentivized to stay true to their word to encourage future payouts by infected victims. Of course, if staying true to your word was easy, politicians would probably be out of a job. Now, malware generally gets onto systems through two ways: social engineering and exploits. As humans, we're both very trusting and incredibly stupid. As a result, malicious actors will often just trick people into installing malware because it's generally easier, quicker, and cheaper than using an exploit. This is done through social engineering, where attackers use tricks like spoofed telephone calls, phishing emails, and deceptive web pages to trick the user into inputting their computer or account credentials and installing the malware. On the other hand, exploits are far more technical in nature because they use holes or gaps in a system's security to gain unauthorized access. These security gaps are called vulnerabilities, and platform vendors actively try to patch them to prevent them from being used by malicious actors as exploits. Because of how rare and powerful vulnerabilities can be, once discovered, they are sought after by both malicious actors and the platform vendors. I wish I was that popular. You're probably thinking, thanks for all the background information, Braden, but how does that relate to the title of this video? First, stop yelling at me. And second, I'm getting there. These digital threats are undoubtedly scary. As such, people often turn to antivirus software like Avast, Malwarebytes, AVG, McAfee, Norton, Bitdefender, and I'm sure many more to detect, quarantine, and remediate malware. Similar to what I assume Tinder does with my profile since I don't get any matches. While many of these apps call themselves antivirus software, they presumably detect all sorts of malware, not just viruses. Antivirus software is just a legacy term, which consumers easily identify, hence why it's stuck around. I really wish inaccurate naming was the only thing wrong with these apps. Security theater is a term used to describe how cybersecurity tools and practices are being implemented more for the illusion of security rather than actually preventing threats. Just like how I pretend to be cool despite having no friends. Now, antivirus software can be a prime example of security theater when users are not properly informed. Users may be less cautious and practice worse digital hygiene, like thinking twice before clicking a malicious link because they believe their antivirus software will detect and stop any threat. It's like buying AppleCare Plus and deciding that you don't need to have a case because you're now protected. Not that I speak from experience or anything. It also can't be ignored that antivirus software does virtually nothing to protect against social engineering and phishing attacks. Despite what antivirus vendors want you to think, they almost certainly can never detect zero-day exploits. Zero days are vulnerabilities that have not yet been detected by the security community. In a sense, 0 days are similar to how an arsonist blindly causes damage but has not yet been identified by the police. Most antivirus applications use a form of signature-based detection. Every application, including malware, has some form of unique identifier, what we call a signature. Signature-based detection is where the antivirus software scans for applications with signatures sourced from trusted malware databases. 0 days, however, have not yet been detected. Therefore, their signatures are not in any of these databases. Some antivirus software may claim that they can detect so-called 0 days, but in reality, it's incredibly challenging. See every crypto influencer, well, ever. One of the most marketable aspects of antivirus software is their real-time detection or ability to constantly be scanning for malicious threats, just like how I'm constantly scanning for validation from my parents. The trade-off with real-time detection is that most of the time, antivirus software is not programmed to be resource or energy efficient, resulting in huge draws for computational power and battery life. On 2 different occasions, I tried Malwarebytes real-time detection, and both times it drew massive amounts of CPU power and drained my battery from 12 hours to 2. While Malwarebytes without its real-time detection feature enabled is a fine malware scanner in the moment, it proves that a marginal amount of security is not always worth the price and performance. Every time you install a new piece of software, you're essentially granting it special access to your computer and the components within, like the camera, microphone, and your files. Even if you're running the most up-to-date, secure operating system, if an individual application has a vulnerability, it could be leveraged to gain access to your computer. Just like how your ex might exploit your feelings for them to do them a favor. Not that I know anything about that, I'd need an ex for that. While every piece of software you install on your computer could be a potential threat vector, antivirus software is a particularly juicy target given the amount of access you need to provide it to do its job effectively. In fact, just a day before recording this video, it was revealed that Ivanti had a vulnerability that was actually being exploited, and it can get even worse with your antivirus software becoming spyware itself. Avast had to shut down their data collection division when it was caught harvesting its users' data. Remember, these are apps that we have to undoubtedly trust, given that they can scan every single file on our computer. Antivirus software is as trustworthy as Amazon fulfilling my prescription. If you couldn't tell by now, I'm not really a huge fan of antivirus applications, but they do still have their place. Every user needs to make their own personal decision based on their own digital risk profile and how susceptible they are to attack based on their digital hygiene and technical abilities. A tech-savvy nerd like myself has a different risk profile than my gullible nana, who has a different risk profile than a head of state. Practicing good digital hygiene, like not clicking on strange links or attachments, reviewing emails for common signs of phishing attacks, and only installing software from trusted vendors is infinitely more valuable than antivirus any day. That's not to say that antivirus software doesn't have its use, but leveraging strong passwords, two-factor authentication, and built-in antivirus tools like Microsoft Defender for Windows and XProtect for macOS are going to be more effective at keeping your computer safe against a broader range of threats. But then again, what do I know? Have you subscribed yet? Because if you don't, you'll get ransomware and I won't give you the decryption key. That's right, I'm a jerk. The idea for this video originally came from an article I wrote for Mobile Syrup titled How to Know If You Need Antivirus on Your Mac. The article's link is in the video's description if you're interested. Leave a like if you found this video entertaining and/or educational. And if you didn't, I'm sorry, I guess. Do you use antivirus software? Let me know in the comments below. And while you're there, let me know what cybersecurity topics you'd like me to cover next. Have a great one.